Hi everybody! Today I'm going to be talking about 7 simple tips to get started with a Weston A Price or Nourishing Traditions type of diet. I absolutely love this diet. Basically, it's based on the principles of Weston A Price, who traveled around the world in the 1930s looking at people that were still living like their ancestors did. He called them isolated peoples because they were isolated from modern trade and modern practices. So they were still eating like their ancestors had for hundreds of thousands of years. And then he would compare their diets and health to what he called the modernized people. So it would be a neighboring group of people that had trade and modern foods and modern white flours and sugars and seed oils and things like that. And basically, from his studies, has prompted a whole diet and lifestyle of living more like our ancestors. And the Weston A. Price Foundation has really taken his work and really made it very accessible to lots of people. Sally Fallon, who's the president of the Weston A. Price Foundation, has her own style on this that she calls Nourishing Traditions. There's also Wise Traditions is another common name for this as well. So that is what I'm going to be talking about. I love this diet. It helped me to heal my chronic gut issues. I had chronic constipation, bloating, gas, abdominal pain. I actually had a lot of other health issues as well, but I cured all of those by following this diet. I have so much more energy. I am more fit in the gym. I can lift heavier. I feel more energized. I feel great after I eat. It just has improved so many things in my life. I get less cavities. It's helped so many things, and I use this with my clients all the time. Sometimes I go a little bit stricter into gaps or animal based, or just apply a few extra principles based on the person to help them heal. But I think this is a absolutely wonderful foundation for healing your gut, for nourishing your body, for prepping for pregnancy, for athletes, for anyone that wants to be healthy. So if you have recently stumbled across the Weston A. Price diet and you're really excited like I was, and you want to adopt it, but you're just feeling a little bit like, where do I start? What should I do first? How do I actually go about this? I'm just going to give you 7 simple tips of some things that you can start doing. You don't have to do them all at once. You can pick a tip, implement it, and then go back and pick another one. But these are a great way to start. So the very first one is to switch your cooking fat. Cut out those seed oils. So that's going to be any oil that is made from a seed. It can also be called vegetable oils. So most common one, there's 3 C's and there's 3 S's. So the 3 C's are going to be corn, cottonseed, and canola oil. And canola oil can also be called rapeseed oil. So the C's are corn, cottonseed, and canola. And then the 3 S's are going to be soy oil, safflower oil, and sunflower oil. So soy, safflower, and sunflower. And then some other common ones are just going to be vegetable oil, like I said, rapeseed oil, grapeseed oil, and rice bran oil. So those are the most common used seed oils, but there can be other ones too. So just think, is this oil made from the seed of a plant? So that could be the seed, the nut, a grain, or a legume. And instead, you're going to want to replace it with a healthy fat. In my mind, it is easier to just focus on getting the healthy fats in and memorizing the healthy fats instead of the unhealthy ones, because there's just so many different seed oils. And they kind of keep coming up with more names and getting creative to try to trick people. So the healthiest fats for you are going to be animal fats. So butter, ghee, tallow, lard, anything like that is going to be amazing for you to cook with. They're more nutrient rich, they have more stable fats. So the easiest thing to do is to swap your cooking oil. I grew up knowing that like canola oil and vegetable oil was bad and cheap quality, but in my family, we thought sunflower and safflower was okay. And when I learned it wasn't, I just threw out the oil. I just couldn't even keep it anymore. And I switched. I initially switched to avocado oil because I was kind of getting used to the idea of eating more animal fats. And that can certainly work at first. The problem is they cut a lot of avocado oils with seed oils, so the quality isn't always as ensured. I do like the Primal Kitchen brand though, so that can be a good stepping stone. Olive oil is still great for you as well. But when I finally switched to just cooking with lard, tallow, and butter, everything tastes better. It's easier. I just like it much, much more. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to switch your salt. So you want to look at your salt and you want to make sure that it is a mineral salt. It is not just processed down to plain sodium chloride table salt, because we don't just get sodium from our salt, we get a lot of minerals, and they use a lot of chemicals and toxins to process it down to just sodium chloride. Another thing for this is, if you've heard of that one salt, I think it's Morton, with the girl with the umbrella, and the slogan for it is "when it rains it pours." It's because their salt is coated in a chemical that prevents it from clumping together, and when it clumps it together, it kind of stops the salt from being able to pour out. I would rather have my salt clump and have to unclump it than to be eating salt with a toxic chemical over it. So anyway, you want to get a good quality salt, and Redmond's Real has really awesome salt for a great price. I also really love Celtic sea salts. The Selena Naturals or something like that brand that's in the blue pack is amazing. It tastes really good. So yeah, a good Celtic sea salt, a good mineral salt. The pink salts can kind of vary in their quality, so you want to make sure you're getting a good quality one, but those are generally the best salts to get. Just make sure it's not that pure sodium chloride table salt, and it will be so much better for you. And if you salt your food to taste, you will get the right amount in. You don't want to be shy on salt. It is important for a lot of things in your body. All right, the third thing is to cut out processed foods. So just think anything that's not in its natural state, anything that's very far removed from how you would find it in nature. The more processed, the worse. So essentially, in most grocery stores, this is going to be that middle section where there's the cookies and the crackers and the chips and all of that kind of junky food. You want to avoid that. Things with boxes, things with labels, generally those are going to be those ones that you want to avoid. The things with long ingredient lists, anything like that, and instead just focus on real whole foods: meat, dairy, eggs, vegetables, fruits. Those are going to be the best foods. All right, so the fourth one is to start properly preparing any grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes that you consume. So basically, these are very high anti-nutrient foods. Anti-nutrients are a compound that plants make to defend themselves, or some of them are made to store certain nutrients. So things like lectins and oxalates and phytic acid, you might have been hearing about these. But anyway, so these are high in the seeds of the plants, because this is the plant's baby. This is how the plant will pass on its genes and make another plant and continue its species. So it really, really wants to protect these seeds, and it does not want you to eat it. But plants can't fight, they can't run away like animals do. So instead, they actually put these substances called anti-nutrients in their seeds, making them very hard on your digestive system. Herbivores will produce certain enzymes and be able to break these down more effectively so that they can eat more, but omnivores like us can't tolerate as much of them. So you can have some, but in excess they start to cause digestive issues and just really wreak havoc on your system. So this is a plant defense mechanism. How it protects itself. So what we need to do is avoid eating too many seeds of the plant. So that's going to be nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes. We can have some. What Weston A Price found that the traditional people who were following their ancestral diet, what their lineage had done for a long time, they just focused on properly preparing these foods. So if you have grains like rice or oats that you want to eat, you want to soak it overnight. So for my rice, if I'm planning to have rice, I will rinse it out in a strainer, put it into a Tupperware, cover it with water, and add a dash of apple cider vinegar, stir it, and leave it for several hours or overnight. And this will help to start break down that phytic acid and those anti-nutrients and make it easier to digest. For oatmeal, you can soak it overnight as well. I always do that. I like to have steel cut oats, so I'll actually bring it to a boil for a minute and then turn it off and let it sit, and that helps to really soften it up a lot. Otherwise, it's very hard to get your steel cut oats not chewy. But you can also add a little bit of whey the night before. You could add apple cider vinegar if you want. It's a little bit stronger in flavor, so it might be a little hard to rinse it out. Oh yeah, with the apple cider vinegar and rice, the next day I will rinse it out really well in the strainer before cooking with it to get rid of that taste or to minimize the apple cider vinegar taste. But anyway, these acidic things help to really break down the phytic acid, which is actually a compound that helps store nutrients in the plant, so it will bind to different minerals. But the problem is that it will also bind to minerals that you're eating and prevent you from getting the nutrients. So you can do that. Other grains, if you're making bread, you can make sourdough bread, and the fermenting process will really break down anti-nutrients. If you're having nuts and seeds, you can soak them, you can sprout them. Even just toasting them will help a lot. Legumes, same. You can sprout them or you can soak them. Even if you're just soaking them in water, it's better than not soaking them at all. If you do add something a little acidic, that is very helpful. So you really want to get in the habit of doing this, and it will make a big difference, and you can still enjoy some of these foods, but you'll be preparing them more properly and not feeling uncomfortable from them. My fifth tip is to add fermented foods in. So you want to have things like fermented veggies. So that can be, you make your own fermented veggies, you can buy them, you can use sauerkraut, you can do kimchi. Those are all great options. And then fermented dairy is going to be excellent as well. So you can do yogurt, you can do kefir. There's a lot of other dairy that's actually fermented as well. So you can get sour cream, you can get cream cheese. There's some good brands out there if you check that'll be like probiotic cream cheese or probiotic sour cream, and that just means that they still are making them more traditionally or adding those cultures in, so they're going to be better for you. So any kind of fermented dairy is good. Raw milk is also going to be good. It's not a fermented food, but it will also have those good microbes that are great for your gut microbiome. And if you want to get some recipes so that you can start making these, I have a lot of recipes. I have one for sauerkraut, I have one for fermented veggies, and I have a lot of different yogurt bowls too, so you can have like ideas of what to put on your yogurt. So I'll link those down below if you want to check out my recipes and start making your own ferments. All right, the sixth thing is to center your meals around animal foods and properly prepared plant foods. So you want to eat tons of things like meat and seafood of any kind. You want the best quality that you can get, but steak is great, pork is great, chicken is great, game meat is great, fish is great, shellfish is great, whatever you like. It's the sky's the limit there. Organ meats are going to be so nutritious and really helpful. You really want to eat nose to tail. You want to eat as much of the animal as possible. So any kind of meat that's good quality that you want is going to be awesome here. Eggs are excellent. Dairy is excellent. All of these foods are great. And then seasonal fruits are going to be good. Veggies are good. You do want to cook most of your veggies. That will make them a lot easier to digest. Fermented foods are great. And then you can kind of experiment based on your health to see what's working for you. When I first started, I really minimized. I pretty much cut out all grains. And legumes. So basically when I started, I would have toasted nuts on a salad every once in a while. I would have like peanut butter and dessert. I'd have corn tortillas every once in a while. Corn is technically a grain, and that was it in the nuts, seeds, and legumes category. I did that for like 1.5, 2 years, and then the next year or two, all I really added was rice, I think, and I had sourdough bread like a few times in that year. And then now I'm just so healed, and I do like enjoying a little more food. So I will have oatmeal sometimes, I'll have sourdough bread sometimes, I'll have pasta sometimes, but I still limit it and I properly prepare as much as possible. So you really want to include those only if you're properly preparing them. Be mindful of your overall intake. I've had clients before that were used to eating a lot of plant foods and were newer to eating more animal foods in a Weston A Price style diet, and I've told them to limit their high anti-nutrient foods to twice a day. So maybe that would be some oatmeal in the morning and some nuts on a salad later in the day. Or maybe that would be like some rice with lunch and then some nuts and a dessert at dinner. But just be mindful, everybody's a little different on how much you have to limit these. But yeah, don't have too many of those. Focus more on the animal foods. It's just a new thought process for a lot of people, but when you're making your plate, it should have more animal foods and be more focused on the animal foods. All right, the seventh and final tip is to add bone broth, organ meats, and other nose to tail foods into your diet. So it's great to just get in the habit of start making a weekly batch of bone broth. That was one of the first things I did when adopting this style of diet. So yeah, get used to making your bone broth. I have a recipe down below, so I will link that down below. And then you want to find a way that you can get liver or organ meats in regularly. Liver is so nutritious and so excellent for you. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. My personal favorite is to make a liver pate. I make it with liver and heart, and I put a lot of other things in there. And I will just have about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that every single day. And that's my favorite way. I have my recipe. I'll link it down below. I've got lots of Weston A Price style ancestral diet gut-friendly recipes, so you can check those out down below on my food blog. But anyway, so I like doing that. You can also get the organ supplements. You can get ground beef or ground meats that have organs mixed in, or you can do it on your own. You can buy ground beef and mince up liver real tiny and mix it in. When I make chicken dishes, I like to buy a whole chicken that comes with the organs. I'll mince that up and mix it into whatever I'm making. It works great in chicken noodle soup, chicken pot pie, just chicken dishes in general. It works really well with, or you can even serve it on the side. You could just cook a little bit of liver. You can make liver dishes. So when I first started, before I got in the habit of making pate, which my God, it's been like five-ish years, if not more, that I've been making the pate consistently. But anyway, before that, I made this liver dish that was like liver and onions and bacon, had broccolini and carrots on the side. So I will leave that recipe in the description too if you're interested in making a meal that's a little bit more around liver. You can also freeze chunks of liver. Some people like to do that. You can buy the liver crisps. There's so many options for getting your liver in, so try a few, figure out what works for you to make sure you're getting it in consistently. I recommend about 3.5 to 7 ounces a week of liver. And then you want to start trying some other nose to tail foods. So this was really fun for me. I was actually vegetarian for 10 years, so I gradually shifted to eating more meat and then to a Weston A Price diet. But there were so many new foods I hadn't had before. So instead of having this be like a restricting diet where you can't have a lot, instead there's actually a lot of new foods you can explore, and you might be surprised which ones you like. I like kidney a lot more than I thought I would have. And yeah, there's just cool foods you can try. You can try bone marrow, you can try caviar, fish roe, you can try different shellfish. You can try shank, which is the leg. You can try oxtail. I've made oxtail. Like there's so many cool different cuts that you can try. So just going to the butcher and seeing what's available and getting excited about different ones and looking at recipes, that can be really, really awesome too. Which brings me to one other thing is you really want to like plan ahead and come up with some meals that you're really excited for. That will make transitioning to this diet or way of eating a lot easier when you already have some ideas and there's things you're excited for. So even with these 7 tips, just think about the ones you are most excited to try. I was dealing with a knee injury when I first started Weston A Price diet, so I was really excited for bone broth because I knew the collagen would be good for my knee, and I had family that was way into fermenting veggies, so I was really excited to start trying to ferment my own veggies. So start where you're excited. Those are some of the things I was most excited about. I went to a nutritionist at the time and had some blood work done and saw like what nutrients I needed more of, and I was a little bit deficient in iron at the time and was recommended to eat more liver. So I was excited to try liver because I knew it would be good for me. So pick some areas that you're excited to start with, and hopefully hopefully those 7 tips helped you out. If you already have been doing the Weston A Price diet for a little bit or you're just starting, let me know any other tips that you have in the comments. I'm sure other people would appreciate it a lot. Or if you're brand new, let me know where you're going to start because I would love to hear about that. And if you are very interested in this ancestral way of eating and you want to get started, but you want more help, maybe you've got some health issues that you're dealing with, gut issues like constipation or bloating or acid reflux, or some bile flow issues, sluggish bile flow, like pale greasy stools, stuff like that, or low stomach acid, or an autoimmune disease, or leaky gut, or Crohn's, or ulcerative colitis, or any kind of more complicated health issue, and you like this ancestral approach, you want to eat this way, but you also want to heal your body and figure out how those two go together, then I would love to work with you. That is exactly what I specialize in. I love bringing these ancestral nutrition principles and ancestral lifestyle principles to help you heal. So everything with the Weston A Price diet is going to be an excellent starting place if you're dealing with any of those things I just mentioned and a lot more. But you oftentimes do have to go a little bit further. You might have to cut out gluten or cut out grains completely. There are a lot of variations you can get into, and different things will work better for different people. So if you want more help in navigating healing your chronic gut issues and doing that naturally and with adopting an ancestral lifestyle, then I would love to work with you. I will leave a link down below where you can book a call with me to learn more about what I offer with my program, Ancestral Gut Healing. So if you are interested, definitely book a call and I'd be happy to share more with you. Thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in more videos on ancestral nutrition and a Weston A Price diet, I will link to on the screen. I have one about the 11 principles of an ancestral diet. So that's a great building point off of this one because it'll give you some more tips of how you can implement and get started. And then I also have one on my personal meal prep following a Weston A Price style diet. So if you want to see how these principles actually get worked into practice, then you can check out that video. I will leave them both on the screen. Thank you so much for watching.